Hello everyone and welcome to this video on how to install Ubuntu on your VM plant. So the first thing that we're going to do today is actually download Ubuntu. Whether you're putting a desktop or server on there, it doesn't really matter, the principle is the same. So I've downloaded Ubuntu server from Ubuntu.com. You can see that's downloaded this ISO file down here. And so what we're going to need to do is get that onto our VM platform. Now, I use vSphere client. If you haven't got this far yet, as to getting your client installed, basically you browse to the address that you've set your VM plant up on, and it should give you a screen something like this. It may be slightly different. But here you can download the client for Windows, and that's exactly what I'm using here. So from here you get to control everything that happens on your virtual machines, servers, whatever you want to call it. So if we click on this main IP address of the machine here, we're going to go to the configuration tab. And in there, you've got all these down here. Sometimes it appears on this page first. But we want to go to storage because that's where we need to be right now. So if we right-click on my Datastore is called Datastore 1. Yeah, how original. Click on Browse Datastore, and it brings up a kind of funky looking file manager application. So in here is all sorts of things that's stored in that data store. So I've put it into folders. So I've got an OS folder. You can see I've got 2012 and Windows 7 there. I've created a folder for this ISO to go in. If I just click in there, you can see these are ISOs. So what we're going to do is drop that into there, and it works a bit like an FTP client, really. So we're going to want to upload files to this data store. So we click Upload File. You saw there you could actually do entire folders if you like. And here is my download section, and we've got Ubuntu in there. Okay, so I'm going to click Open, click on Yes, and that after a short while, actually you can see I'm actually using a VPN into this data store, so it's restricted by my broadband, which isn't too bad, but it's not that fast either. So I'll pause the video shortly and come back as soon as that has uploaded. Okay, so you can see now that this has actually uploaded to my data store and is now available for any of the virtual machines to access that ISO image. So we're going to go ahead and close this down, and now we want to actually create our virtual machine. So right-clicking, New Virtual Machine, and this starts off a wizard. Now, normally if you're starting a new virtual machine and you're not using this method, the typical method is absolutely fine. But we need to add in the ISO as a disk drive or a CD/DVD drive. So for that, we're going to click on Custom. It allows you to do a few extra bits. So we're going to call this, well, you can call it whatever you like. I'm just going to call this Ubuntu Test Server, as that is exactly what it's going to be at this stage for me. We can keep it on this data store. That's absolutely fine. Virtual machine version 11 is absolutely fine. It's going to be Linux. I don't know whether I've never actually installed. Yeah, here we go. Ubuntu Linux 64-bit. Now, because I'm using the free version of VMware, I'm limited to a total of 8 processors. So whether that's 8 virtual sockets with 1 core, or whether that's 2 virtual sockets with 4 cores. Oops, that's 3, 4. Whatever adds up to 8, you can't go above that. This is actually a 32-core system with plenty of RAM. I think it's got 250 something gig of RAM and just over 2 terabytes of data storage, so it can run quite a few servers. So as you can see, we've got some here, but these are actually down servers, not using those anymore. Memory size, we want it to be fairly quick. This is going to be an SQL database, so you can either use these to move up or down, or you can specify what you want in there. There is actually quite a need for a lot of memory on this system, just to do the testing that I'm going to be doing. I've got a large MySQL database that I'm going to be putting on here, so I'll keep it at 128 for now. We can always increase that afterwards by right-clicking on when the machine names appear down this list. You can right-click and click Edit Settings, and you can edit all this again. So it's not set in stone at this point. For this, it's only a test server, so I'm just going to use the 1 NIC at the moment. I think this machine's got about 8 NICs on there, so you can actually connect all those and use the full throughput, but it's not going to be needed in this instance. The SCSI controller, I always leave it as the default. Yes, we want to create a new virtual disk. So this is what your disk size will appear. And depends on how much you have free as well. Sometimes it depends how you provision it. Some of them write out all the space, and you know, that's assigned to that, and nothing else can use that. Some of them you share the size, so they're dynamic. So as it needs more, it just adds to that space up to a certain limit that you set here. So we're just going to go for the moment with 125 gig, store it with the virtual machine. Again, you can leave these as a default, and you can see we've done most of that, and it's ready to complete if we click finish. But we do actually want to change one of the settings, because at the moment that's a blank hard drive with nothing to boot with. So we obviously need to put a DVD or CD emulation on there. So if we go to continue, click on this checkbox here, click continue, and you can see down here we've got new CD or DVD. Now you can do all sorts of things. You could actually put the disk into the machine, but that's not available to me. That's it's like 30 miles away from me at the moment, so that's not viable, which is why I uploaded the Datastore ISO file. So we're going to go for that, and this will be exactly the same as you saw before. This is where we created the folders. So there we've got Ubuntu. We click on there. And the other important one is connect at power on, because if you don't do this, the device won't actually be started up. I'm not quite sure of the reason for this, but yeah, we need to tick that anyway. And then we click finish. So there you can see now we have got the space has changed on here, obviously. We've got Ubuntu test server. If we click on this button here, which is the console, that's going to allow us to see what happens as if we'd got a screen hooked up to this machine. So when we power this on, so we right click, power and power on, that should actually recognize as a disk in the drive and power this machine on. Okay, brief pause there. What it wasn't doing was showing me this screen here, which is obviously what we need to install. And what I had to do is click off onto the Performance tab and click back onto the console, and then it appeared. So it had actually appeared on there. We just hadn't got it. So now I've clicked inside with the mouse on this screen, and now my mouse has disappeared because obviously this is like a DOS-based, a text-based interface at this point. If I want to get that back, I just press Control and Alt, and there you can see I've got my mouse back. But as far as the rest of your machine's concerned, once you click in here, that system has control of your mouse. You can't see it anywhere else on your screen. So in case you're thinking that something's stalled, it hasn't. Just Control and Alt, and it releases the mouse from this window. So we're going to, you can see now I'm using the arrow keys, and I'm going to select English. There's all sorts of different things on here, but we're going to go with the default of installing the Ubuntu server. Okay, we're going to go for English. We're in the UK. Yes, I suppose so. I don't know what the difference is. So we're going to go for that. We press R. No, there isn't one of those. 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 Yes, there is a pound sign, and it's detected the GB layout. I don't quite know why you do that and not just select it from a list, but there you go. So we're going to continue with the install. And from this point forward, it's pretty much as though you stood in front of a physical machine rather than a virtual machine. It will start going through all the various components, installing everything and setting it up as a normal Ubuntu server. So we're just going to wait for these to load. Might actually just pause this until we get to another screen. Okay, so now we're back at the network configuration stage, and I don't know why it's given it that name. It's quite weird because that is some of the naming conventions that we use. But yes, I'm just going to give it a name for now. SVR, let's go with that. Continue. So it actually grabbed itself, it'd gone through the DHCP and all of that sort of thing. Let me put my name in there. Okay, so I've put in my password, so it's a strong password. Ask you to verify that. No, I don't want to encrypt the home directory at this point. I do encrypt all of our servers workstations and laptops, etc. But I don't do it with the normal software, so I'm going to leave that for now. So now it's just configuring its time against a network time server, which it should have got from DHCP. Okay, so the next part is partitioning the disks. So, sorry, I need to click in there. So we want to use the entire disk, so we're going to go ahead and do that right now. 134 gig. Can't actually remember what I put in the settings, but there we go. So we'll say yes to that. And even though we're doing this, some of you will know that getting a partition off is a bit of a pain in the backside, but with VM you basically just delete the disk and it's gone, and that disk space is then freed up for other systems to use. So it's pretty quick in getting things off of this in this way. Okay, so now it's downloading a couple of updates, installing all the main system software. So I'll come back to that as soon as that's finished. Okay, so now we've got a screen asking, it's saying configure the package manager, but it's actually configuring the proxy access or the internet access to allow package manager to download and get the latest packages. Now, we do use a proxy in some form, but I'm not going to actually use it for this machine. I'm going to add this onto a special rule in our firewall, so we won't need that. Okay, and now we're up to automatic updates. So I do want it just for this system to install the updates automatically. You can see there's landscape that you can manage it with, bit more control over what gets installed. But just as this is a test server at the moment, we're going to put this into automatic updates. Okay, so this is where we get to choose what kind of stuff we are going to put on our server. So at the moment, I don't want many of these things actually. We don't want Postgres SQL. Yeah, and there's not a lot else that I can do with that actually. So I'm just going to go over to continue. I don't actually know what the standard system utilities are. I'm guessing it's just basic utilities, hoping it's not installing a DHCP server or something daft like that. Okay, for anybody else that was thinking, okay, what is in that standard packages, quick search on Google reveals exactly what's in there. So it is the basic stuff, Telnet, SSH, things like that. So I've just put that screen on there so you can take a look exactly what's in there. And now it's asking us whether we want to install the grub bootloader to the master boot record. That's absolutely fine. Yes, we want to do that. And we're pretty close to having this installed now. Okay, so it seems that we've finished the installation, and I have also now answered my own question earlier on, which was why we had the connector power up. And it seems that some of these CDs will always boot into the setup process. So what we need to do is it's telling us that we need to eject the CD. so it doesn't start the setup again. So this is where I was saying earlier we can edit these settings. So I right-clicked on there, edit settings, and we go down to the CD drive, and we can untick connect at power on. So now when it restarts, this won't automatically be in there anymore, which is exactly what we want. So there we go, taught myself as I'm doing something. So we're going to continue with that. That started Ubuntu straight away. You notice how quick as well using VMware that things start, because there's no system post processes like checking the RAM, checking the SCSI controllers, all of that. It's just straight over, and there we are. We're at our server login. So that's it. Now I would go ahead and make sure we've got all the latest updates. I'll do another video for that pretty soon. And that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, guys. Thanks very much.